We've all heard that advice 1,000 times, right? Just be yourself. It sounds so simple, so liberating. But what if that advice, as well-meaning as it is actually at the heart of our modern identity crisis? Today, we're going to dig into why being yourself has become one of the most confusing challenges of our time.
I mean, this isn't a new idea. 400 years ago, Shakespeare put it this way. Today, we've kind of boiled it all down to that simple two-word mantra. Be yourself. It's become the ultimate goal, the North Star for how we're supposed to live.
And that's the real paradox, isn't it? We have more freedom than ever to choose who we want to be. But, as author Guinness points out, there has never been more chaos and confusion over who we actually are. So what is going on? How did this simple idea get so incredibly complicated?
Okay, so let's dive into it. Guinness argues that there are three major forces in our world that are shaping and, frankly, scrambling our sense of self. He calls them the 3 C's of modern identity. So, first up, there is consumerism. This is the idea that you are what you buy, what you wear, the car you drive. Next, we've got social constructionism, which basically tells us there's no fixed reality. Your identity is just something you choose, you invent, and hey, you can change it whenever you feel like it. And third, there's connectivity, our always-on, constantly plugged-in digital life. And this quote, wow, it just nails that third C, doesn't it? Our identity gets so tangled up with our digital footprint. I mean, think about it. You have an experience, so you record it. You record it, so you upload it. You upload it, so you share it. In a way, your very existence starts to feel like it's being validated by your online performance. So that's the modern puzzle we're all trying to solve. But here's the thing. This struggle for identity, it's not new at all. In fact, there's an ancient story from the book of Genesis that's like a powerful case study for this exact problem. It's the story of a man named Jacob. Now, when we first meet Jacob, he is not the hero of the story, not even close. He literally enters the scene as a man who is desperate to be someone he is not. You see, Jacob is a twin, and he was born literally grabbing the heel of his older brother, Esau. In fact, his name, Jacob, means the heel grabber or the supplanter. And boy, does he live up to it. Esau, as the firstborn, was entitled to the family birthright and the all-important blessing from their father, which was basically the inheritance of all the wealth, the power, and the family legacy. And this is the moment, the climax of his deception. His father is old and blind, so Jacob disguises himself. He puts on goat skins to feel hairy like his brother, walks into the room and says these words, lying straight to his father's face to steal the blessing that belonged to Esau. But his plan to become someone else doesn't lead to victory. It leads to total disaster. His brother wants him dead. He's completely alienated from his family and is forced to flee into a 22-year exile. He tried to become someone else, and in the end, it cost him his home and his family. Okay, so let's fast forward to the turning point in this whole saga. After 2 decades of running, of building a life based on a lie, Jacob is finally forced to stop and confront who he really is. He's on his way back home, and he gets word that Esau is coming to meet him, with 400 men. The story says he was afraid and greatly distressed. And in that moment of pure terror, something inside him just shifts. For the very first time, Jacob prays, not just to save his own skin, but with genuine concern for his family. That same night, he sends his family ahead across the river, and he stays behind, all alone. And there, in the total darkness, this mysterious figure just appears and starts wrestling with him. And they fight all night long, right until the sun starts to come up. Now, the story is famously mysterious about who this opponent is. The text just calls him a man. Later prophets suggested it might have been an angel, but Jacob himself comes to a pretty staggering conclusion. He believes he has been wrestling with God. And this line, this just shows you everything about how he's changed. As dawn breaks, he's injured, but he's still holding on, and he says this. See, he's still desperate for a blessing, but this time he's not trying to trick his way into it. He is clinging to the divine with this raw, tenacious honesty, demanding a true blessing. So what's the response to his plea? He gets a new name. His opponent tells him, you're no longer Jacob, the supplanter. From now on, you are Israel, which means he who struggles with God. His entire identity is redefined, not by what he stole, but by the honest, brutal struggle he just went through. So how does this profound change in his identity actually play out? Well, what happens next is completely unexpected. The very next morning, he finally meets Esau. And the man who just wrestled with God and prevailed, he doesn't walk up with a swagger.
No, he prostrates himself. He bows down to the ground 7 times before his brother, showing total humility, total submission. Why would he do that?
Well, this right here explains everything. You see, the blessing Jacob stole from his father was all about earthly stuff, wealth and power. But the blessing he just received from God was about his true identity, his future, a divine promise. So, by bowing and offering all these extravagant gifts to Esau, Jacob is symbolically giving back the stolen blessing. He just doesn't need it anymore.
And this exchange between them, wow, it says it all. Esau sees all the gifts and says, "Brother, I have plenty." But Jacob, in the act of giving them away, replies, "No, please, take them, for I have everything." Esau is talking about material wealth. Jacob is talking about a deep spiritual completeness. He can afford to give away wealth because he no longer needs it to know who he is. He's finally found his true self.
So what's the big takeaway from this ancient story for our very modern lives? How does this all connect back to our own search for who we are? Whoa, this ancient story offers a really radical alternative to how we think about identity today. It suggests that a true, lasting identity isn't something you build out of your purchases or your preferences or your online profile. Instead, it's something you discover when you come face to face with a reality that is much, much bigger than you are. And this really illustrates the 2 paths you can take. There's the path of the false self, that was Jacob's starting point, a life of constant striving and impersonation. But then there's the path of the true self, Jacob's destination, which is found in an encounter that makes all those external symbols of identity, well, pretty much irrelevant. He didn't need to be Esau anymore because he finally knew who he was. And that leaves us with a really provocative question for our own lives. In a world that is constantly yelling at us to build our own identity piece by piece, this ancient story asks us to consider a totally different path. That maybe, just maybe, being yourself isn't about creating who you are, but discovering who. We've all heard that advice 1,000 times, right? Just